because what we can carry from the Think 20 task, actually in terms of inclusion of startups and inclusivity group and sustainability group, agriculture is part of that group. There's no separate agriculture group within the Startup 20 engagement, but we can actually look at what the groups, the task forces that are working on inclusivity and sustainability, and how the Think 20 communique that goes can be linked. Because ultimately what will happen is we produce either a few documents or have a communique from each engagement group. So Think 20 would also have a communique which for the G20 Sherpa and the leaders of the G20 countries. And if there is a common language of communique between the startup group, at least part of it can be with the Think 20 task force. That will be something very useful. I also wanted to mention in the passing that iCreate, which is a partner of the Startup 20 Secretariat, has come up with a G20 fellowship, which is basically a fellowship for studying. It's a one-year fellowship, 75,000 or 80,000. They said roughly $1,000 per month for a fellowship for a year to do research on startup ecosystems, which I thought was, can we actually from Think 20 do on agriculture such fellowship? Is there a possibility for RIS to actually institute a fellowship of a similar kind where you do agricultural systems research across these countries? It is not about a startup research, it's an agricultural systems research, and if there are some benefits that we can gain out of it. Because the idea of what we are doing in Startup 20 and how we can link, I thought let's mention that. And I have also mentioned to Dr. Chintan Vaishnav that IKP will launch a grand challenge. We have not decided on the topic, so I'm unable to announce that, among all the G20 countries. So that will be announced probably in the next task force that we have in April, 17th, 18th April, we have another meeting. Probably we will announce it then or in the May one. But from the Startup 20 side, there are these sideline events which are relating to all the 20 member states are doing. If it is possible for Think 20 to do, it will be, I think it will be a great thing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepamrita ma'am, for your wonderful insights. May I now request Shri Jayashankar Garu, IAS Principal Secretary, Department of ITEC, Government of Telangana. Before I call the dignitary on stage, I have an opportunity and privilege to introduce Mr. Jayashankar. Mr. Jayashankar is the member of the Indian Administrative Service of the 1992 batch and has been working in the state of Telangana. He holds a master's degree in psychology from Delhi University, a degree in business management from the IIM Kolkata, and a master's in public management from Lee Kuan, New School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore. He has done short courses in the University of Birmingham on environmental policy analysis, JICA Training Institute, Tokyo on rake remediation, London School of Economics on Global and Leadership, Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University in Public Policy, and Swedish Institute, Stockholm on Sustainability and CSR. He is All India topper of his IAS batch of 1992. So we have this wonderful opportunity. We are having a very diverse group of stakeholders led by eminent dignitaries from various partnering organizations from the global ecosystem and Indian ecosystem. We also have stakeholders from the Agricultural University, the scientific ecosystem, and a group of students and entrepreneurs. We'll be very privileged to have your talk, sir. I request you to kindly enlighten the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you confirm about my audio? Are you able to hear me well?
1 second, sir.
So, Yeah, I got the signal.
So 1 second,
First of all, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's audible.
Thanks very much, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this valedictory session of the T20 event, which is happening here in Hyderabad. It's also slightly ironical that all of you are in my city, but I'm unfortunately in Mussoorie for the last 4 days. But nevertheless, I'm very happy that I've got this chance to interact with you. I would like to speak about some of the very focused technology-enabled work that we are doing in the sector of agriculture with multiple partners. And I see many of the partners here already on the dais. And I would also like to tell a little bit about how this whole idea emanated on the fact that state should focus on digital agriculture. So as many of you would be aware, doubling of farmers' income is a very important national goal. It is a national goal not just of the current government in Delhi. It has been an important national goal for the government which was there earlier as well. And of course we have made progress, not to suggest at all that there is no progress at all, but definitely we are not close to doubling the farm income in most of the commonly produced crops in our country. In Telangana, as some of you would be aware, agriculture is a very important focus for the government. In fact, eight and a half years of our new state of Telangana have gone by, and I can share with you that almost 60% of the state's budget year after year in these last 8.5 years has been spent on creating and improving agriculture infrastructure, which of course which includes irrigation facilities, but also agriculture extension work, direct agriculture support to the farmer, which today has become a national policy, and so on and so forth. So when so much is happening in agriculture, we feel that this is the right time to find out if technology can also enable higher productivity, higher production, reduction of losses which farmers incur otherwise as well. And therefore for the last about approximately 4 years plus now, we have designed this program. In Telugu, this program is called Sagu Bagu, which in English it means betterment of agriculture, or improving agriculture, or optimally maximizing the returns in agriculture, etc. So what we have done is that we have, for the common crops in Telangana, we have understood the entire cycle of operations that are performed, and all of you are agriculture related professionals. I'm sure you know what I mean. Right from the time that you prepare your fields till you gather all your inputs, till you do the agriculture operations, you manage pests, drought, etc. Then you harvest the crop, then you store the crop, you do some primary processing, then it is taken to the market. In case there is some drought, etc., some natural calamity, you claim insurance. So what we noticed was that every step in this process of the common crops that we decided to work on, there are opportunities of improvement. There are certain inefficiencies which can be improved. We also noticed that the practices throughout this chain, which a large farmer undertakes, is very different from what a small farmer or a marginal farmer undertakes. So obviously the inefficiencies for a small or a marginal farmer are even greater than that of a large farmer. And then for almost 2 years, more than 2 years in fact, we spent time on seeking technologies which can plug those inefficiencies across all these steps, or all the value chain that I spoke about. And we were able to identify 80 odd technologies of different kinds. Some technologies are actually sensor-based technologies, IoT, some are more data-driven, some are again relying on devices like a drone or a robot, and so on and so forth. But potentially 80 plus technologies through which we can either improve the production, improve the product. We have decided that some of these some of these solutions which appear promising will be first tested and tried out, and then we will scale it up. And as you would have learned by now, Agriculture University has its own farmlands of different soil types, of different microclimates, and we have been able to implement of the 80 odd solutions that I spoke about, approximately about 18 of them. And we monitor those results very closely. And again, I'm very happy to share with you that the meticulousness through which the solutions were sourced, that is reflecting on the fact that a majority of the solutions, when the field trials have been conducted, have yielded very, very positive results, very encouraging results. And we are ready right now to at least scale up 5 of these technology solutions which have been identified. And this approach that you look at end-to-end solutions, use all possible technologies, is kind of something which is working well. Since I mentioned earlier that we are also looking at the challenges that the small and marginal farmers face, we have decided to make these technologies as easy to implement and as affordable as possible. Because again, all of us know, farmers, most of them, a majority of them themselves do not have very high levels of formal education or too much of familiarity with gadgets or technology, etc. So unless you create a version which is very, very simple, more or less it is self-explanatory, you will get a huge pushback from the farmers. There'll be a mindset that these technologies are not for us. It is only for those people who live in the cities, who speak English and all those things. So we are very careful in ensuring that the usage of the technology, the adoption of the technology is at the level of the farmers. I again feel very happy to share with you that most of the 80 solutions that we have compiled in our compendium are sourced from young innovators and entrepreneurs, from startups essentially. And this again has happened because of a very progressive policy on innovation and startups that Telangana has, which mentions, first of all, the Telangana state itself offers lots of incubation facilities. So you would have heard about IKP, you would have heard about the AgHub, which is there in our agriculture university. These are just 2 of 70 such facilities which are there in Hyderabad, not 5 or 10 or 15 or 20. Hyderabad has the largest number of innovation spaces for any city in the country, which includes incubators, accelerators, co-working spaces, and 9 of these incubators, accelerators and co-working spaces are dedicated to agriculture. There's an incubation facility at ICRISAT, which is called again AgHub, NARM, Manage, Indian Institute of Millet Research. Many of these institutions have focused incubation programs for agtech startups. And we also have another feature in our policy which mentions that if it is a homegrown startup with a solution which is of relevance to the government, then the government will procure it bilaterally from them. So normally one of the biggest challenges that startups face is that finding their first customer gets very difficult. In Telangana, we guarantee that the state itself will become your first customer. And many of these 80 odd solutions that I spoke about have been developed by startups who are incubating in one of these facilities in Telangana, in Hyderabad. And because we have this policy, we have been able to onboard them very, very quickly. So our turnaround time is very short. We don't run any complicated procurement process like RFPs and bids, and you have to outbid someone. These things don't happen here. And that is one of the reasons why lots of very innovative activities are happening. So of course, when I spoke about these innovation centers, these are not just brick and mortar buildings. Of course, they are buildings, but what happens inside these buildings is much more educative. So AgHub, for example, the jewel in the crown of our city. Inside AgHub itself is built in a very large space, very beautiful architecture, etc. But what happens inside AgHub is much more interesting. So we have a list of almost 200 plus domain experts who are instantly, the moment a startup is onboarded, they are instantly made to own up some number of startups. They guide them, they mentor them, they evaluate their technology. 3 big technology institutions of the city, IIIT, IIT and BITS, their top faculty collaborate with these startups. We also arrange for funding to every startup, whatever is their stage of evolution. We find some agency or the other which can help provide funds, venture funds to these startups. I already spoke about how government assures that we will be the customer. If the product or solution is of relevance to us, and then we also help them scale up. We recognize them, we encourage them to participate in global awards, national awards, etc. And many of them do well. Many of our AgTech startups have won national recognition, etc. So again, as I said, this is something which people would not really encourage governments to do. The typical thinking would be that government should stay away from the world of startups, from the world of enterprises. The market forces will take care of all these things. But we in Telangana have actually demonstrated a contrary model, that the government can actually step in, provide a very strategic kind of support and supervision, and help startups not only come up with important products and solutions which matter the most to us meaning to the citizens of this state, but also help them expand and grow and conquer domains outside of Telangana as well. So I'll be very happy. I heard Kalpana Shastri Garu, Dipanvita ji speak about how you want to proceed further regarding the T20 stream of the G20 work that you are doing. And I would like you to keep the overall ecosystem that the government and all of us have together created in the center of this work that you plan to do in the future. And any agriculture related work, we will be very, very happy to support. In fact, as I said, initially the idea was just to improve efficiencies, improve production, productivity, etc. But now we are doing much more than that. In fact, it is slightly premature to announce it formally, but I can share this with you. Just a very quick snippet that we are now setting up a full-fledged agriculture data exchange. We have already brought out an agriculture data management policy. We are setting up a framework. We are setting up a data exchange. And India Stack that we all talk about, for example, when we make digital payments, we know about the UPI, Aadhaar, etc. During COVID, we saw the India Stack being replicated for vaccination monitoring, etc., etc. Similar India Stack is being developed in Hyderabad by some of us related to agriculture. So certain things which even advanced countries are not even visualizing at this point in time, we are making a breakthrough, and we would like to showcase all of that work that we are doing. Nothing is secret, nothing is proprietary. We want as many states of our country, as many countries across the world to benefit from this innovation that we are carrying out. And I would like the opportunity that T20, G20 create to really do so. So once again, I'm grateful that you gave me an opportunity to speak out of turn. And my apologies that I could not be there in person. But once again, thank you all for accommodating me, and hope to meet you some other time in person somewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful thoughts, and you've always been a torchbearer of the innovation entrepreneurship ecosystem of the Telangana. We are very thankful to the support of the government of Telangana, and especially the support from Department of ITEC. We look forward for your patronage in the coming time. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time despite a hectic schedule. I would like to request now the next speaker, Mr. Atul Kaushik, GDC Fellow from RIS, to kindly give remarks on this session. But before that, I'll take this privilege to introduce the speaker. Mr. Atul Kaushik stays the Global Developmental Center at RIS, the retired Additional Secretary, Government of India. He was India's negotiator in the WTO for dispute settlement and intellectual property rights, in the UNFCCC for climate change, and also served in the permanent mission of India in Geneva. He has delivered multiple development cooperation projects in Africa, trade capacity building of developing country missions Geneva, and an Indo-US Triangular Development Partnership Program in New Delhi. He lectures at the National Judiciary Academy, the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, and the Institute of Secretariat Training and Management of the Government of India, among others. He has also co-edited a book published by Academic Foundation entitled Reflections from the Frontline, Developing Country Negotiators in the WTO, and by the Government of India entitled Transforming India, Governance for Atmanirbhar Bharat, contributed chapters in dozens of books and several articles in various national and international journals. So we're very happy to have you here. I would like you to kindly come on the podium and kindly address the gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Kalpana Shastri, Mr. Anil Kumar, Sushila ji, Dipanvita ji, Dr. Satyanarayan, everybody in the audience. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to participate in the conclusion of a very hectic yet very rewarding day in Hyderabad today. I had come with the thought in my mind that I'll take some time out of these sessions because they're going to talk a lot of technical stuff that I don't know about and may not care about, but I could not go out at all. It was so interesting that I spent the whole day with all of you, and I really learned a lot, and you spoke the language that I understood. So thank you very much, the university, for hosting me. I want to use this opportunity to talk a little about why I am here as a representative of the RIS and the GDC. So I have a small presentation, if you could put it up. You know, the Research and Information System for Developing Countries is a New Delhi-based think tank that works in the areas of research and development cooperation, started way back in 1983-84, working on trade and economic development areas, but has now expanded to many verticals. And one of the verticals that it has, that it has started in January 2019 with the support of the UK government is called the Global Development Centre. So why did RIS decide to establish the Global Development Centre, and what is the Global Development Centre all about is the topic of my presentation. You know, I don't need to reiterate what all of us know, not only because it has been emphasized as a part of the Indian G20 presidency, but also because our Prime Minister has taken particular interest in becoming an active part of the Global South, a terminology that has started coming in currency more recently. But suffice to say that with the North-South and the South-South cooperation joining hands and now forging also triangular development cooperation, which involves a northern partner, a southern pivotal partner, and a development partner from the south, which benefits through this mutual exchange of knowledge and ideas. It has become imperative that the southern countries, they get together to do things for themselves. Now, when we want to do things for ourselves as the Global South, we do need to first know what do we have. Do we have the expertise that we can share with each other? And that is where the question of localization of our expertise comes. When the exhibition was opened, I find been resolved through research also, in the literature also. If you remember the Millennium Development Goals, which are set up without thinking about development goals, setting the entire set of stakeholders, including, we do need to localize, we do need to find out how to curate solutions that are relevant for us, that are relevant for the southern countries. And that is where the idea of the Global Development Centre came. So this was established in 2019, as I said. The premise of its establishment was collective growth. It promises to promote development programs showcasing not only Indian expertise, but mutual exchange across the Global South and sharing of peer expertise across the southern countries. And these experiences, expertise, and good practices can then cross-pollinate across the Global South. And that is the idea of the Global Center. So at the moment, we are working on these 4 verticals that you see on the slide. in 4 different colors. But let me go forward to show you the connect between what we in the Global Development Center do and what you are doing today. Look at the first column here, which is on agriculture and nutrition, relevant not only for SDG 2 but particularly for SDG 2. So we have worked along with a clutch of Indian organizations, particularly central government organizations like the National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, the National Water Mission, the National E-Agriculture Market or ENAM, and the Climate Smart Agriculture, PM Kusum, which found voice across 2 of the thematic sessions that we had in the morning and the afternoon today. Now, keeping in touch with these organizations, we identified a number of experiences, successful experiences that India has had in the agriculture sector. And when we engaged with other southern partners, we talked about it. And when we talked about it in global forums, in multilateral forums, or in our bilateral interactions, that generated interest in those countries to know more about it. And that is how the Global Development Center became a vehicle for South-South cooperation. Now, I will not go into the details of how it has become a vehicle of South-South cooperation. I will leave a copy of this presentation with the university and you can have a look at it. But I wanted to say that through this realization of South-South cooperation, these are the various verticals in various regions of the world where GDC has worked. And this is despite the fact that we were established just a year before COVID happened, and most of our work until mid last year was virtual. So I wanted to talk about this outreach in particular to showcase that there are a number of areas relevant for agriculture in which we have been going across to Asian countries, to African countries, to the countries in the Pacific Islands, which are relevant for the kind of startups that we saw today, for the kind of engagement that we had in the thematic sessions today. And although I have taken notes, I would wait for a more detailed summary of the proceedings of not only today, but also the work that your brilliant students did on the 17th of March, and create out of it a new set of experiences and expertise that India can demonstrate to other countries, and take this across as a part of the Global Development Center's outreach to these all countries. We have already been to these all countries. We have interacted with these all countries, some of them virtually, some of them in person. Only last week, my colleagues came back from Ethiopia after talking to their ministries of agriculture, Ministry of Health. They wanted to know a lot more about how agriculture innovation is happening, how dryland farming is happening in India, what is ENAM, and they are planning to come to India also, and maybe we will bring them to Hyderabad if time and opportunity permits, to continue this relationship that we are establishing with PJTSAU, with this collaboration that we have had today. So once again, thank you very much for making me a part of these conversations since the morning, and I'm taking back very fond memories. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Atul sir. We understand the coverage and extensive work that the GDC has worked in pioneering and spearheading the initiative of G20, and with your initiatives under T20, we are very happy to have you as an esteemed partner, and we look forward for more active collaborations and active participation in the coming time. Thank you for your wonderful insights. May I now request Dr. Kalpana Shastri, MD of AgHub, to kindly give a small memory from our side to present it to Mr. Atul Kaushik. Actually, the other speakers have been presented in the morning, sir. So,
but the plant is going to be a difficult thing for you to take.
I actually wonder it's going to be a challenge for you. He will give you one. No. I will start. Oh, thank you. This is also made by our students. By the way, I think this morning I should tell you, all these are outputs from our student experiential learning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request Dr. J. Satyanarayana, Dean of Student Affairs, to kindly announce the awards. But before that, I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about Dr. Jalla. Dr. Jalla is a graduate in BSc Agriculture, and yes, so just 1 minute. So he's graduate in BSc Agriculture from the College of Agriculture, Rajannagar, and his Masters in Entomology from Andhra Pradesh Agriculture University and PhD from IIR in New Delhi. He has worked at various capacity of Senior Professor, Associate Dean, and Dean of Agriculture. Presently working as Dean of Student Affairs. So I'll keep it crisp, sir, and I'll request you to kindly announce the announcements, please.
Thank you, Vijay. Respected dignitaries on the dais, most respected